What is up, Packers fans? Welcome in to Pack-A-Day Happy Hour. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. What a day to be alive. Everything is good in the world when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. 2-0 after beating both the Detroit Lions and the Washington Commanders. It feels really great. It feels amazing. It feels wonderful. And hopefully this feeling lasts all season long. You know there's going to be some bumps in the road over time. But right now, man, does it feel good with what Green Bay's been able to do over these first 2 weeks. Today's happy hour is presented by Luigi's Pizza. I just finished up the most delicious breakfast pizza ever. Did I have a breakfast pizza at 3 p.m. or right around there, 2 p.m, I guess I should say? Yeah, I had a breakfast pizza at 2 p.m. I'm not apologizing. It was absolutely amazing. And yes, it does taste better after a victory. I don't know how to define it or explain it, but it is something that's legitimately true. Make sure to get yours over wherever you get your, favorite pizzas, Luigi's Pizzas, at your favorite grocer, of course, luigispizza.com and at Luigi's Pizza on social media as well. Stock up on all your victory pizzas all season long. All right. Want to get to a lot of different things. I'm going to get to all of your questions. Should be here for about an hour or so. I am absolutely running on about 2 hours of sleep today. So got a few more things I got to get done and then should dive into the film later tonight and tomorrow. Hope to have the grades up for you guys by Sunday from this one. It's more of just like I'm geeking out, ready to grade this game, and I cannot wait to do so. But before I get there, I want to get to all of your incredible questions today. So let's jump in right away. First of all, Patrick, new member. Ricardo, new member. Terry, new member. Brian, new member. Thank you guys. Oh, Ricardo, I think I said Ricardo. Either way, new member. Thank you guys so much for signing up. Appreciate you guys a ton. That is awesome. If you haven't checked out those memberships yet, make sure to do so. Joey, just saw Jeff Hafley leave his shopping cart in the parking lot of a Target. Not a good candidate for a head coach. Head coaches return their carts to the store. I think Justice Mosqueda had something similar as well. Also saw an old granny that needed help with her bags, and he did not help her at all. He was walking his dog, actually, in De Pere. Did not pick up after the dog, just left it there, huge steaming pile. Now, it was a Bears fan's lawn, so, kind of weigh it out, but I just don't think he's head coach material. I think we have to start really discussing that, he just doesn't seem like he has the ability to lead any sort of organization. Probably should just stay a defensive coordinator for the entirety of his life. I totally agree, Joey. Start spreading the message out there. Obviously, from Haf's standpoint, I hope he gets whatever, he wants down the road. He is more than deserving. If that's a head coaching job, so be it. If he wants to be the highest paid defensive coordinator in NFL history, then Green Bay should let him do that as well. Right now, the world should be Jeff Hafley's oyster with whatever he wants to do moving forward. Most hated Chicagoan, a member for 17 months. Appreciate you, my friend. It was nice watching Trey Amos last night. Seems like he has the potential to be a good corner. Belton may end up being our starting right tackle for the future. If Tom is out 2 to 8 weeks, like some reports are saying, I did not see those reports, most hated Chicagoan. So I hope you are wrong. But definitely did not see that as of yet. I will say this, if it's 2 to 8 weeks, that's quite the range, right? That means like he could be back for the next game or he could miss 2 months. That's quite, if he was like a game time decision yesterday, 2 to 8 seems aggressive, but here's the thing. We'll take it, I'd say but the Packers will take it one step at a time with Zack Tom and figure out what's best for him. You have options. Anthony Belton held up all right last night. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm excited to grade his game as well, but it certainly wasn't catastrophic. Yeah, I know he had the holding penalty on the touchdown. That sucks. It's a bummer. It is what it is. I'm not saying, again, there wasn't some other plays there that he got beat on, but you didn't have to change your offense unequivocally because Anthony Belton was out there. Same thing for Kennard. So you have a couple options out there. You have even more options if Aaron Banks comes back. If Banks is back, you could theoretically kick Jordan Morgan to right tackle. So that's an option as well. You could put Morgan at left tackle and move Rasheed Walker to right tackle. Don't be like, completely think that that's not a possibility. Because remember, Jordan has been a left tackle more often. Rasheed started as a right tackle when he first came to Green Bay. That could be another option that they have. So they have a lot of options if Zack Tom's going to be out a little bit, but a great first sign that they were able to finish the game against Detroit and play this entire game against Washington with no major catastrophic issues with either Belton or Kennard out there. That's a good sign. And again, the main thing is that you see Zack Tom coming back for the stretch run, and whenever he's healthy, but no need to rush it back at this point. Now, all of that being said, really the one thing with Cleveland, right, is Myles Garrett. That's the one thing that you do need to be extremely cognizant of. Now with Detroit, you had to be extremely cognizant of Hutchinson. Now Garrett is better than Hutchinson. It's not by a ton, but he's better than Hutchinson. But you were able to completely nullify Aiden Hutchinson in that Detroit game. Hopefully Green Bay has a similar plan for Myles Garrett in that game. But that's the one piece that you have to really be aware of with Cleveland and make sure that specific dude does not beat you in that game. So if you could get Zack Tom back for that one, you certainly would not be disappointed by it in any way, shape, or form. Menace 712, appreciate the super chat. Man, if these F-it golden down there somewhere throws start hitting, this offense will be absolutely scary and really open lanes for Jacobs. I know the F-it golden down there somewhere is said in jest and kind of a joke because I don't know how to joke and take things very seriously. I will say the F-it golden down there was an F-it Dobbs down there somewhere playing this game where, basically Jordan rolled left, bought some time, was trying to direct traffic. And then finally it's like, all right, I got nothing else to do. Dobbs is down there one-on-one. That was a F-it Dobbs down there somewhere throw, like no question about it. The golden ones were designed. Like there was the deep shot to Golden in the end zone that Jordan just underthrew. Should have been a touchdown. And then there was the designed deep ball to Matthew Golden where he was throwing it deep and he overthrew that one. So those were not, panic, screw it. What should I do in this situation? Just throw it down the field somewhere. Those were designed plays to get Matthew Golden an opportunity to be a game breaker in that situation. Golden won on both of those, by the way. He should have had 2 touchdowns and probably 130 yards just from those 2 plays alone. So, or at least, right around there. That would have been a pretty epic performance for Matthew Golden. And he did everything in his power right. It just Jordan, unfortunately, one undercooked, one overcooked, and hopefully the next one is just right and we Goldilocks this thing. But overall, not an F-it golden down there somewhere. But to your larger point, Menace, if they do start hitting those deep balls, there's 2 things, right? Hit your deep balls, get the run game going. If those 2 things are workable, there's nothing left. You're covering amazing. Your linebackers are getting everything underneath. You're stopping the run. You're insane on defense right now. This is a couple of special teams things I guess you could get cleaned up, but I do think with Zane Anderson and Bo Melton, when they come back, you feel a little bit better about your coverage units and things like that when those 2 are out there. Neiman's been really good in that role also, by the way. And then, offensively, just need to hit on some of those deep shots a little bit more. I mean, he hit one to Romeo in the first game, which is a good sign, but just a little bit more accuracy there on some of those. Also, he did hit that beautiful Malik Heath throw. And then he did hit the one to Jaden Reed as well, which was an unbelievable throw that it just so happened got called back due to an Anthony Belton penalty. But he is hitting some of them. And as Bill Huber kind of asked Matt LaFleur yesterday, basically asking him hey, this is part of your offense. With some of the volatility with these throws, is that just sometimes the cost of doing business? And he got kind of a, meandering answer to it. But Bill's right. There is going to be some of that when you are playing the game of, hey, we're going to take these chances down the field. They are lower percentage throws, right? You're not going to connect on these with a high level of regularity. There's going to be more opportunity for miscues, whether that be the receiver and the quarterback just aren't on the same page. The quarterback's expecting the receiver to do one thing and the receiver does something else. The quarterback, just puts a little bit too much on it, a little bit or not enough on it, whatever it might be. There's just a little bit more that can go into it. Even the wind can affect it in those situations. So it's a lower percentage throw, but it gives you that opportunity. It kind of goes back to baseball, right? When you're thinking of the analytics have changed the launch angle in baseball to say, hey, it's really difficult to get 3 singles in a row, right? We like getting or a walk in 2 singles or whatever the case may be. Doing that all in an inning is difficult. The percentages are low to do that. If you can get a home run or a double or a triple, now your odds increase that you're actually going to do it. So we need to hit more home runs. And with offense in the NFL, it's kind of similar, right? If you are having to just get these 4-5 yard dump off throws every now and again, it's really tough to matriculate your way down the field. It's a lot easier if you can get those explosives, but you can't get those explosives if you're not taking some of those chances. So I think Green Bay is on the right side of this, by the way. I think they're aggressive with a purpose. I think the purpose is driven. I think it's the right strategy for the right reasons with the right quarterback. And that's all I can ask for. But again, to your larger point, Menace, if they start connecting with those with a little bit more regularity, it's probably just game over. Because if they're hitting the explosives and they can run the ball, which again, something they need to do a little bit better. With what we've seen so far, that, my friend, is a well-oiled machine. They already look menacing, no pun intended. They would be even more so if a couple of those other things got, a little bit cleaned up. And make no mistake, too, there are going to be games where they hit their deep shots and they run the ball better, and some of the intermediate passing game doesn't work as well, and their defense doesn't work as well. Like some other team figures out their defense and they put up 30 points or 28 points. And the offense is going to have to be the one that gets those explosives and puts points on the board to hang with the other team who's also putting up points. You have to be able to win games in a variety of different ways. You don't know what the narrative is going to be in any given game. Might be a shootout, might be a defensive struggle, a 6-3 game. It might be something in the middle. You just don't know at any moment. It might take a turnover to win you that game. You got to be able to win games in a multitude of ways. I think that's what's most encouraging to me so far, is it feels like Green Bay can win any style of fight that they need to get into with any other team. Hopefully that continues moving forward. Greg, amazing wins and still feel like we could have scored 40 in each game. How do we open that up more and reward the incredible defense a bit more? Yeah, I mean, it's just what we kind of talked about, right? You just want to be a little bit more efficient with some of the stuff that you're doing, hitting on some of those deep throws, paying those off. They're there. There's opportunities to hit them. No question about it. And then the other thing is just being able to run the ball a little bit better. It's really difficult when you're not running the ball. You're going to get to some of those third and long situations where just are inherently difficult to move the chains in those situations. So you got to be able to run the ball a little bit better. But yeah, you would have liked to have seen yesterday with the defense continuously getting the ball back for the offense, where you can maybe put a little bit more point production on the board. Didn't happen that way. Commanders, I thought, were okay on defense. I think that's probably where I come down a little bit more of like, I didn't think actually the Commanders were that good on defense. And I thought that there were a lot of opportunities there to put up the 40 points. So that's why like offensively, at least, it was a little bit underwhelming. I'm not complaining about 27 points in an easy win. Don't get me wrong. But I just thought that there was the opportunity for like 48 points out there. So when you get like half of the production, or a little bit more than half, but you get, not quite production that you maybe should have expected based on the looks that you got, that just is a little bit disappointing, even if in totality, the performance overall by Green Bay was incredible. All right, let's get back to the main chat here. Again, appreciate all the questions here, guys. Will Hafley's crew now giving up garbage time touchdowns in both games, intentionally depressing their stats to keep half away from a head coaching interview? Just kidding. Great win. Go Pack Go. Hey, got to play 3D chess sometimes. Ray, thank you for being here. Alec, feel like I haven't heard much about how well Javon Bullard played that game. Definitely something I mentioned in the show today. I know Aaron Nagler posted a video on that as well. I thought he was tremendous in that game. I've been on the Javon Bullard bandwagon. I have not come anywhere near close to selling stock. In fact, I've continually bought stock on Javon Bullard. There are some limitations in Javon's game. A great example is you don't want him matched up one-on-one in man-to-man coverage on Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot. That is a matchup, with all due respect to Javon Bullard, he is going to lose every single time. Every single time. I mean, if I had to guess, like if they ran like 15 routes one-on-one in that situation, I bet Bullard wins like one, maybe two of them. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is beating him into submission in that matchup. It's not a good matchup. That's not Javon Bullard's strength. The truth of the matter is that's not supposed to be his role. Nate Hobbs is supposed to be in those situations when healthy, and he will be in those situations when healthy. And normally when Javon is in there, you're going to play a lot more zone defense when he is in that slot position, which he is more than capable of doing. Sometimes, just for pure tendency breaker standpoint, you have to mix things up. So if you're going, zone, the quarterback's going to come to the line of scrimmage and just be like, I know they're going to be in zone. They never play man. You have to do some tendency breakers just for the sake of doing it. And sometimes you might give up a third down completion because you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown on Javon Bullard. You just have to do it, because if you don't, they're going to know what you're doing every single time, which is more detrimental than giving up a first down. So in that particular play against Detroit, they come to the line, they're playing man-to-man. Javon Bullard's on an island against Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm pretty certain Jeff Hafley, is going into that play that if Jared Goff sniffs it out that it's man coverage and recognizes that it's Bullard on Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's going to go there and he's going to pick up a first down. He probably knows that going into the play. He's hoping that the man-to-man is going to fool them because it's a change of pace, or that maybe Goff will be looking in a different direction and maybe they can get away with it. They didn't. And credit to Javon Bullard on that play. He immediately made the tackle so that was a 9-10 yard pickup instead of a 25-yard pickup. That's still a solid play at the end there from Bullard after being in a disadvantageous situation on a play call that does not suit his strengths and in a position he wouldn't have been in had Nate Hobbs been there. Take that stuff away. Whether he is playing at deep safety and coming up and playing the run, which he is very good at, or playing that slot position where he's attacking all of these other, wide receiver screens, which we saw him do an incredible job of yesterday. He is really good in those situations. And I'm going to add one more thing on top of that. Why do you want Javon Bullard in the slot in more of your base, what I call base nickel situations, right? So I've talked about this a ton. Obvious passing down nickel, Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, Nate Hobbs, Evan Williams, and Xavier McKinney are your 5, right? But in your kind of normal nickel, your base nickel, where maybe they're in 11, but it's a more like rundown situation, or maybe they're in 12 personnel, but you want to stay in nickel. You've got Bullard in the slot. You've got what I think is eventually going to be Nixon and Hobbs on the outside. Yesterday, we saw Hobbs and Valentine kind of rotate, and then Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney at safety. Why you love Bullard in the slot in that situation is that you're going to do a lot of zone coverage there, and he is more than capable of that. All of that underneath stuff, he is able to attack all of the, the wide receiver screens, the intermediate crossers, things like that. He is all over. But Bullard is basically acting like the third linebacker in a 4-3 in that situation. He's like a box linebacker, or like one that's kind of like out wide a little bit more maybe, but you're basically getting almost like a linebacker mentality out of Javon Bullard. So if they throw, he's doing his best to kind of hang, and it's certainly in zone he can, as that kind of pseudo cover corner, right? He's not quite, in that range of being a true corner, but he's got some of those skills, especially in zone coverage where he can hang. But when you're running the ball, or you're throwing some of those intermediate or short passes or screen passes, he's basically like having a third linebacker out there with Cooper, Quay, and Bullard acting as your 3 linebackers, 2 corners outside, 2 safeties, and then your 4-man line. So I'm not making the comparison that Javon Bullard is Charles Woodson, far from it. But some of the unique stuff that Woodson was able to do was basically transform himself at any moment into an edge rusher, a off-ball linebacker, a true slot corner, and or a safety if he needed to screen back. And that's the other thing you can do with him also, is if you're trying to disguise some stuff, you can have Javon Bullard screen back to safety if you really want him to. You could have him play in the flat in some cover 2 stuff. There's so much different stuff that you can do with him, and he fits that Jeff Hafley system really well because of that. So you saw yesterday of how you can utilize Javon Bullard in a very specific and fun way that makes him a really potent defender within the defense. Now, again, when I go back to the Charles Woodson comp, he's not the rusher off the edge like Woodson was. He's not the pure cover guy like Woodson was, but he can do the safety stuff. He can cover a bit in the slot, and he can basically be used as that third linebacker like Woodson was able to be as well. So not quite the versatile piece like Woodson was. Nobody is, but he gives you a few of those nuances that you can utilize him with. And that just gives more variety to what Jeff Hafley can do, which has been their specific brand of vodka that they have enjoyed, being able to mix and match, give different looks, and then scream out of it. Javon Bullard, very, very good at it. Very good tackler. We saw him have a really great game. And very, very excited about what Javon Bullard is bringing this defense right now. Sorry for the long answer on that one, but as you can tell, a little bit geeked up about how they're utilizing him in this defense. Andy, it wasn't televised. Did they do anything honoring 9/11 at the game, or perhaps a moment of silence for 9/11 or Charlie Kirk? And if not, why do you think 9/11 wasn't honored similar to the Jets? 9/11 was honored, and there was a moment of silence for that yesterday as well. So yes, that did take place prior to the anthem. And then I think there was like a big USA chant after it as well. But yes, there was a moment of silence for 9/11 yesterday. This defense feels absolutely impenetrable right now. Everyone is playing their tail off, and they have studs everywhere. Alex, I agree. I just hope they continue it. Hope they continue with this intensity. Like, I think week 3 is going to be a big test, right? Now, you're just saying, like, Andy, it's the Cleveland Browns. Like, what do you mean? You just played Detroit. You just played Washington. Now you're going to get the Browns. Well, how is that your big test? It's a big test, not in personnel and scheme and what the Browns can bring to the table. It's a big test because why Green Bay's defense has been so great in these first two games has been the energy, the intensity, the attention to detail. And they have been getting a boost from the crowd noise as well. When you see Micah Parsons getting his jump off the line, Carl Brooks amongst others, the crowd noise helps with that a ton, as they're less likely to go hard count. Sometimes they're going silent count, etc. So they have a baked in advantage of that. I'm not necessarily worried about that last part, but the more so, it's easier, right? Get hyped up for first game, home opener, the first game of the season against a team that's beat you consistently lately, that feels like a big game fight at home, crowd's going crazy. Micah Parsons' first game, he comes out of the tunnel, though everyone's exploding. That first game, easy to get up for, right? Everyone's doing everything they can in that game. Second game, 4 days later, you just won a huge game. You've got another great team coming to town. Prime time, Thursday night football, home crowd again, whiteout. Everything looks amazing. Everything feels amazing. Easy to get up for that game. Now you've got a noon game against Cleveland on the road after 9 days off. Not off, but you know what I mean, like not playing football. Do you have the same energy and intensity? Can you carry that over into a road game that doesn't have the same stakes, the same energy, the same excitement, the same everything? That's what I want to see. If they do, that's a great sign. That's a great sign that this is not just something that is going to come and go throughout the year, that this is here to stay. And if it's here to stay, good luck rest of the NFL. We see what this defense is capable of doing when they play that way. Now, if there's anyone that I think that can get them to continue to play that way, it's Jeff Hafley with a hat tip and assist to Micah Parsons. I mean, it seems like he has the pulse of this team, and he wants everyone playing with that same sort of vigor game in and game out. And I love that, by the way, because what has been the MO from Cowboys fans more than anything else, right, is like, well, Micah Parsons gives you that at the beginning, but then he tapers off as the season goes along. Well, if he's the one that's leading by example, and if he's the one that's giving a little bit more autonomy, and he's the one that's juicing everyone else up to be that dominant, then he has to lead by example. He has to be the one that is showing everyone else what he's going out and doing so that everyone else plays with that same energy. And that's what I want to see going forward. This is a big, everything's a big game. It's not the one on paper that looks the juiciest, the sexiest, etc. But I want to see this defense come out with that same exact intensity that they have in these two big primetime games, then in a random noon kickoff in Cleveland, right? That's what I'm going to be watching for. How much did Hobbs play last night? Didn't notice him much, but that could have just been because they didn't throw at him very often. Yeah, he actually played a decent amount of snaps. Let me just get it up really quick here. I know Justice had it up earlier and I looked at that, but I didn't look at it on PFF standpoint yet. He played 32 snaps, primarily in coverage, 27 pass defense snaps, only 5 run defense snaps. But yeah, he played about half the snaps last night. He was doing a decent amount of splitting time with Carrington Valentine in some of those nickel situations. Nathaniel Hatmaker. I always appreciate a good hat maker, Nathaniel. Going to the Packers and Bengals game, I will be there in the stands as well. Always liked meeting the players at Oneida. Do they still stay there the night before? I honestly, Nathaniel, do not know their situation with where they stay. I don't think so. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the situation is. It's something I've never really cared about. There's certain things like people ask me like, where does so-and-so live? I'm like, I have no idea where they live in Green Bay. Or like, you know, some of the like spouse stuff of like, oh, who are they? I have no idea who they're dating. I have no idea where they live. I have no idea where they stay. You know, in the game, I can tell you where they lined up, you know, throughout the course of a game, or if they're on special teams units or things like that. All that other stuff, I have no clue. Don't follow it. Don't care about it at all. So somebody else in chat might be able to answer that question, but I unfortunately have no idea, Nathaniel. Quick Lance, CV, Nixon, Bullard, Wicks, A+. Thought the whole O-line struggled a bit, but great win. Won't complain. Go Pack, go. As one I'm definitely excited to go out and grade. Line was pretty good. Just reviewed all the PFF grades and going to watch the All-22 later. I'm going to be doing the same. Happy Friday, Andy. Very excited to check off Cleveland and Dallas on my stadium chase. Still on cloud 9 because before the season thought we could miss the playoffs. Now don't think we can lose. There's a huge difference between hoping you are good enough to win the Super Bowl and knowing you are good enough to win the Super Bowl. Thank you, Jerry Jones. Go Pack, go. Obviously, a lot of ball game left, as Aaron Nagler would say, but things are definitely trending in the right direction right now. Well, yep, we went over that one. If anyone wants to see an unbelievable route from Golden, watch quarter 4, 12-13. It's a 3rd and 6. And I just want to pull it up, but I'll refrain from pulling up film. But yes, 3rd and 6, quarter 4, 12-13. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one. Go Pack. There's also so many plays Golden is just running by these defenders with ease. Jordan just doesn't see him because of pressure, or he's just a clear out guy. Yeah, that stuff will come with time. I know Golden didn't have a catch in this one. Again, probably should have had 2 for 130 and 2 touchdowns, quite frankly. Just is what it is. You kind of live through that sometimes, go through the ebbs and flows of it. Golden's going to be just fine. He's a very talented wide receiver. The stuff that he can do as a route runner after the catch and with his speed down the field is going to pay huge dividends for this team. My guess is it's going to pay huge dividends sooner rather than later. Even though Golden didn't get a catch, looking at some of his snaps, he won a heck of a lot on his routes. Very exciting. Feels like a breakout game is right around the corner. Curious your thoughts. Yeah, again, haven't watched the All-22 on it, but feel very much the same way, Dan. Don't want to overreact, but this defense is scary and is still only scratching the surface of what they can do. Last year, Daniels was unflappable. He looked pretty flappable last night. I talked about it on the show today. I do not know what you do if you're a quarterback. I legitimately don't. So the first thing you want to do to help your quarterback, right, is run the football. You have 2 teams that are really solid, especially Detroit at running the football, that have a combined fewer than 100 yards through 2 games so far. You haven't been able to run on this defense. So that kind of goes out the window. All right, so we're going to have to pass our way into it. All right, can we get some of the play action and easy looks going? No, because you can't run the football. They're not really buying it as much, and they're just kind of covering up your guys. So that hasn't been able to work as much. All right, so, Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, we're going to need you to go out and win this. You guys are good quarterbacks. Like, let's make some stuff happen. All right, let's get to the line of scrimmage. All right, let's see what kind of defense we're facing here. All right, well, I know that they're going to give me one look and then do something different, or maybe they'll give me a look and they'll do it the same, but I can't tell based on a pre-snap look. Maybe I get a tell. Like, I saw one play, maybe it was Bullard. I can't know for sure. I think it was Bullard, but like Bullard right before the snap just started to creep back a little bit. I'm like, oh, he's flying in his zone over there. Like, you can sometimes, if you're paying really close attention, get a couple tells from a couple players, but that might tell you one player. That might not tell you the entire coverage. So pre-snap, with what Jeff Hafley is doing right now, is making it exceedingly difficult to get any sort of read on what you're doing. And you can't just go back and be like, all right, well, let me just go through my 5 receiver progression. On a lot of plays, not always, but on a lot of plays, you have sometimes like a zone side or a man side, or you have a specific, man or zone beater called, and you're trying to read pre-snap if you want to do the man beater or the zone beater, and you can't really tell what they're in. So now you're going up, now the clock is running down. You can't get a read on the defense. So you snap the ball. The defense isn't afraid of the run because they've stopped you all day. So they're coming after you. They're rushing the passer. And now you're reading the field. And all of a sudden, safeties are screaming back or safeties are screaming up. Corners are all over the place, linebackers, and everything that you saw pre-snap, you blink and you reopen your eyes. And now everyone's in different spots. And now, all right, sorry, are they in cover 3? They're cover 4. All right, now are they in cover 4? Okay. Now, as I get ready, now that you've taken the 2.5 seconds to decipher the defense, now Micah Parsons is in my face and I'm ready to get slaughtered. All right. So I have either throw away or like, can I get a quick check down? And so you get that quick check down in the best case scenario in that situation. And Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker are just there, boom, down in 2 to 3 yards. Now you're in 2nd and 7, or if you were in 3rd and 5, now you're 3rd and 8. Now you're in 4th down, or if you were in 2nd and 8, now you're in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, and now you're in a 3rd down situation. It's not easy. And so, all right, but you're Jaden Daniels. Just make things happen with your legs. All right, except that Micah Parsons is chasing me, and he's just as fast as me. They've got a defensive tackle in Lucas Van Ness who runs like a 4.5 40. Rashawn Gary's not slow. I tried to get away from Devontae Wyatt, and he made a diving attempt and tripped me up behind the line of scrimmage for a sack. And then, oh, by the way, if I get past them, they usually have either Edgerrin Cooper or Quay Walker who are just screaming at me as well. Not to mention, if I take off, they're in zone defense the majority of the time, and all eyes are on me. So if I take off, all of those guys are converging on me immediately. And then everyone's rallying to the football. I don't know what you do. I don't have, I wish I could tell you. Actually, I don't wish I could tell you, but I'm glad I can't tell you what that solution might be. It's going to have to start with running the football. Like, I almost wish, we'll get 2 of them, Baltimore and Philly. Baltimore and Philly are going to be great litmus tests for this team of where they are at stopping the run against some really good run offenses and some really good offensive lines. Both of them come to Lambeau. I mean, get your tickets now, friends. If you are in any situation where you can get Packers Eagles or Packers Ravens tickets, get those tickets. Those are going to be huge fights. And I mean huge fights. and styles make fights, right? These are different styles of teams. They're going to want to run the football on you. And can you stop the run in those situations? They've seen it so far. And Detroit's a good run team too, more often than not. I have a feeling they'll probably be able to run on Chicago this week. But man, those are going to be big time fights, and I can't wait to see it. But if I'm an offense, it has to start there. If I can't run the football, it's over. It's over. So I better have a heck of a game plan to run the football in Green Bay, or it's going to be a long afternoon, because they're going to be all over you with their pass rushers and with their disguises. And it's going to be a nightmare to have to go against. I appreciate the kind words, Nick. I don't get the chance to watch film, so I am curious as to what makes this team so much more dominant through 2 weeks than last year. Is this type of play sustainable? Go Pack Go. Nick, this type of play is always sustainable. This is effort, intensity, energy, confidence, swagger, all of it. That level of energy and intensity and effort is always sustainable. If you play like that, you are always going to get some form of results. Add talent on top of that style of play, and now you're really cooking, and you're going to be a top 5 defense. And then add a Micah Parsons, a Xavier McKinney on top of it, you might be a top 1 defense, especially if Jeff Hafley is the one designing and calling the plays. So yes, absolutely think this is sustainable. And as far as why they're more dominant, this was a top 10 defense a year ago. Maybe a little bit of smoke and mirrors. I thought they played some worse offenses last year. You know, I think they padded their stats in a couple games against some bad teams and some bad quarterbacks. It's all right. Every team has a couple of those. You have to beat the cupcakes too on the schedule, right? So they did that last year. They took advantage of that. I think they struggled a little bit more against the Minnesotas, the Detroits, the Phillies, as most teams do, right? But you took a top 10 defense and you added not only Micah Parsons to it. I mean, think of it this way. For the majority of the year, that starter was Preston Smith up until he gets traded away at the deadline. And then it's like Kingsley Enagbare for a good chunk of the year. You're going from Preston Smith / Kingsley Enagbare to Micah Parsons at one of those spots. Not to mention Wyatt and LVN and Colby Wooden look ridiculously better than where they were at a season ago. Edgerrin Cooper missed a bunch of time last year. He's healthy and all over the damn place. Quay Walker looks like he's taken a step. The first half of last year, Keyshawn Nixon was starting in the slot, and then they figured out, oh, actually, he's a much better outside corner. And we're starting to see that, and we certainly saw that yesterday. Carrington Valentine has taken a significant step as an outside corner. Xavier McKinney is still one of the best safeties in the league, and Evan Williams has gotten even better. Javon Bullard's gotten even better. But what I'll add on top of all of that, and then again, of course, you added, Micah Parsons on top of it. It's all really impressive. But when you got Micah Parsons, it was like the entire defense, in Space Jam, this is now very old, obviously, but Space Jam, where Bugs Bunny gives everyone like the special Jordan juice or whatever that makes everyone really special, but it was actually just water or Gatorade the whole time anyway, and it didn't actually have anything special in it. I think a lot of the players in this defense had the capability of playing like this for a long time. And sometimes you just need that spark to light it, ignite it, and get it going in the right direction. And for me, you saw pieces of it from Jeff Hafley last year, but getting Micah Parsons in just really seems to have given everyone that level of energy and confidence that they needed to bring out the best versions of themselves. And now all this talent that Goody has brought in and cultivated and said, hey, I'm going to get super talented guys. We just have to get them playing the right way. I think with some of the draft and develop and the coaching that this team has done, with now Micah Parsons in this room, everything is just kind of clicked into place. And with the effort and energy and intensity that they're playing with, you're seeing a defense that right now, no offense in the league wants to see. They're going to have to continue it, show the consistency, but right now it is a very fun and very scary defense. Andy, I've been following Green Bay religiously since 2003. Am I alone in saying that I am more excited to see the defense on the field than the offense? What a time to be alive. Go Pack Go. No question about it. Defense is king right now, and that's the fun unit on the field. Offense, I think, is going to get there. I really do. Defense probably gets a little bit of a step back at some point. Don't know if you can completely keep this up all throughout the year. I would love if they could, but either way, this is a very fun football team that is going to continue to make strides on both sides of the ball. And I feel like Detroit and Washington absolutely did everything in their power to not let 8 take over the game. I feel like Green Bay was successful running into loaded boxes with him last year. It Is it just about waiting for the O-line to open up more holes into that stack box, or will the box lighten if Jordan keeps this play level up? I think it's just going to be a game by game, as Matt LaFleur kind of likes to say. Different teams are going to scheme it in different ways, and then you have to have options to attack that. It's difficult because even when you get some of those stacked looks, there is value in still running the football just to keep teams honest. Because what can happen, right? If you get a stacked look, teams can explode out of that. So you might look like you've got a 9-man box, but actually, as soon as the ball is snapped, whether it's run or pass, you might have guys move out of that, especially if the other, opposing team knows that you're just going to pass every time. So even if you get a loaded box, you still have to be able to keep them honest and run the ball from time to time. And when you have a lead, it's a little bit easier to do so. I'm a pretty big believer that it takes the offensive line a little bit of time to gel together and kind of get some momentum. I think you're going to see that get better just inherently as the season goes along. They'll figure out plays that work really well for Jacobs. I think getting Marshawn Lloyd back at some point will help, but they'll figure it out. I don't have much concern. They've put together some really fun, run concepts in the past, and I think they're more than capable of doing that again. But and even this, I'll say too, right? Even though it wasn't a great, dominant performance for Josh Jacobs, Green Bay left that game yesterday 30 carries for 135 yards in a 4.5 yard average with a touchdown. That's still a good day on the ground. If you're averaging 4.5 yards per carry, and you might say, well, a lot of that was Jordan Love's scramble. No, Jordan had 3 scrambles for 12 yards, only averaged 4 yards per carry. Okay. So he actually did not help that average. Take Jordan out and it actually goes up in yards per carry. Now they were helped by 2 carries by Savion Williams for 24 yards. Matthew Golden had 2 for 15. Those helped it a little bit. Jacobs was only at 3.7 yards per carry. But when you end the day with 30 carries for 135 yards and 4.5 yard average and a touchdown, you've still done something right. They'll get the run game going a little bit more as time goes on. I'm not anywhere near concerned about it right now. The game wasn't that close, but if Jordan had a bit better touch on the deep ball, it would have been over in the first half. For sure. Just know it's Thursday night football. Tends to be a little bit sloppier version of football. Didn't have a full week to game plan. Didn't practice during the week, right? They go through walkthroughs during the week. I can't stress to you guys how much that stuff matters. Like getting out there and running through your reps and the plays and hitting guys in stride in practice, that stuff matters. Getting that rhythm and timing down, it matters. It's difficult when you're out there and you didn't have time to practice through the course of the week because it was a short week. I'm not concerned about it, but to your point, yes, I think if they would have hit on a couple of those, it would have been extremely, extremely over by halftime. Didn't actually think Jaden Daniels played that bad. He just got torn up. I think he played well, actually. He had no chance against the defense. Wow. I don't know that I would say he played well, but I don't think it was his fault. I don't think there was anything he could have done differently, but I think Green Bay made sure that he did not play well in this game. All right. So 232 is where we're leaving off there. Just making sure. You guys had a bunch of questions in beforehand. All right. So many questions. You guys are just amazing lately. I cannot thank you enough for all of your support and questions. All right. We're going to get to some member questions here in just a moment. All right. Let's though get to our sleeper picks. I'm doing Monday Night Football here, guys. We got double header Monday. It's not a double header, I guess. Go kind of in the middle of the game, whatever. But we've got 2 games going on for Monday Night Football. We've got Buccaneers, Texans, and then we've got Raiders and Chargers. Getting a little spicy on this one. Will Anderson, more than a half sack. Baker likes to do a little bit of dancing around from time to time, buying time in the pocket. I think Will Anderson gets him for a sack in this game. Baker Mayfield, meanwhile, Houston Texans defense, really, really good. 1.5 touchdowns. I'm going to go that he goes fewer than 1.5 touchdowns in this game throwing. I think you could see Bucky Irving get a touchdown. I can see Tampa winning this one still. You guys know I'm a Baker guy, but I think Houston's defense holds him in check. And then Omarion Hampton, you got the 2 running backs in this game, the 2 premier rookie running backs, Ashton Genty versus Omarion Hampton. I think Hampton's the one that gets going a little bit more. I like more than 56.5 rushing yards for Omarion Hampton. Of course, you can utilize code PACKADAY. The link is in the description below. You get a 100% match up to $100. So make sure to check that out. Again, use code PACKADAY. They're available in over 25 states. And just make sure you're checking out those terms and conditions. Terms and conditions do apply. You can check out those over on Sleeper. I'll say it one more time. Remember to utilize code PACKADAY. Simple enough. Go get after it. It's super fun. All right. Wrong. There we go. Let's get back to our comments here. We get to our super chats. I know a couple more came in. Amazing win. I still feel like we could have scored 40 in each game. How do we open up that more? We need the. Oh, yes. Yep. We touched base on that one. Just want to make sure. I can confidently say I've never enjoyed the first 2 games so much ever. Yeah, that's an interesting comment, Izzy. I'd have to go through one by one. I'm trying to think what happened after that Bears game where Rodgers went out injured and they came back against the Bears. I'd have to go back and look at what happened in game 2 after that one. Same thing like after that Saints win when they won the Super Bowl and then they beat the Saints. I know they won their next game, but I certainly was on cloud 9 after that Saints game and then after their second win as well. There's a couple of those in there, but I would tend to agree with you, Izzy, that if there's nothing that beats this, maybe there's a couple moments that feel in the same range, but this feels pretty epic right now. I don't know how you could be, much more excited than where this team is at right now. It feels really, really good. Dragon Scale, you've been a member before. I'm assuming you just signed back up, but thank you so much for that. Appreciate you a ton. Jonathan, happy Friday, Andy. I love being 2-0. Me too, friend. Yet feeling like the offense hasn't scratched the surface yet. Couple things. One, I do want to give the offense a little bit of credit here. You've seen the opposite side of this. 2 good offenses in Detroit and Washington just got completely nuked by Green Bay's defense. They had no answers whatsoever. Usually early on, defenses are a little bit ahead of offenses. Okay? That's usually the case. Green Bay still, despite not being fully functional yet, put up 27 points per game. Okay? 27 points per game. I just want to go back to something really quick here. All right. So last year, for example, going to go the full league. The team with the most points was the Detroit Lions. That's just telling, by the way, that Green Bay completely shut them down. They averaged 33 points per game. That's a crazy number. That's an absolutely crazy number. Buffalo was next at 31 points per game. Baltimore at about 30 points per game. Tampa Bay was at 29.5. Washington was at about 28.5. The Bengals were at about 27, almost 28 points per game. And then the Eagles, your Super Bowl champions, were at 27 points per game. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Eagles at 27 points per game, which is also where Green Bay was at last year, about 27 points per game, and they were 8th. You're the 7th or 8th best offense if you're putting up 7 or 27 points per game. Okay. So we're still talking about a pretty significant offensive performance. And I'll just add on top of that, if you get that defense all throughout the year, and you get, even if it's the 8th best offense at 27 points per game, you're winning a ton of games. Now, to your point, Jonathan, if they start hitting even more, like they should, like they can, like Matt LaFleur has given them opportunities to hit even more plays and get even more points in these 2 games, and they've kind of left some stuff out there. Imagine if that does get to 33 points per game, 34 points per game. If the offense does get there, I don't know what you do. That you're not putting 30 points up on this defense. You're just not. I mean, what's your over-under right now on how many times a team will score 30 or more points against Green Bay this year? I bet 1. I bet 1 team gets to 30 on Green Bay, and I bet they got set up via turnovers on a couple of those. That would be my guess. I bet 1 team gets over 30. I mean, barring injuries and things like that, that could change the calculus of things, but I bet 1 team gets over 30 on Green Bay. If you start scoring 33, good luck. Good luck to the rest of the NFL. So I'm with you, Jonathan. If they can do that, it's awesome. But I just want to put it into perspective that even at 27 points per game, you're probably the 7th or 8th best offense in the league going into the entire year. All right, let's go to the bottom, get to some member chats. Once again, Paul and Ziggy's reaction to Green Bay's win were hysterical. I'll have to definitely check that out. Those guys do great work. We have a nose tackle. His name is Colby Wooden. What I love about Colby Wooden and what I love about what Green Bay has done is they've maintained their run integrity by going a lot more of Wyatt, Wooden, and Brooks. They still have the strength up front, and they've maintained that integrity. They've got a little bit more juice. Wooden and Brooks and Wyatt, they can get upfield. They can get after you. So you've actually added pass rush juice to that defensive line while not really suffering at all in run defense. That's not even against anything Kenny Clark or TJ Slayton do. It's more of just complimenting Wooden, Brooks, and Wyatt and what they've been able to accomplish so far. It's been really remarkable. I mean, to go from, hey, Kenny's gone, Slayton's gone, are they going to be able to stop the run, to, oh my God, this looks really good. And I don't know what you do now. Credit to those guys. I want to really shout out Devontae Wyatt. I think he had a really great game this past week. And last week, my highest graded player on defense was Colby Wooden. Number 2 was Devontae Wyatt. Those two keep playing like that. It's an unbelievable embarrassment of riches for Jeff Hafley right now. With the offense and now a really fun defense, I have a problem. What am I supposed to get up and go back to the concessions for another loaded pretzel and refreshing beverage? You definitely, here's, what you need to make sure of. You've got to really make sure you've got your full bladder gone before the start of a game. Then you've got halftime at best to kind of reload a little bit. But yeah, you're not going to have a lot of time. Everything right now is pretty exciting as a Packers fan. So plan accordingly moving forward. Have your snacks ready, and make sure you don't have to go back to the kitchen for too much, because you're not going to want to miss any plays for Green Bay right now. Did Nixon have more PBUs last night than Eric Stokes did in 4 years? I feel like it definitely was more than Stokes had in the last 3 years, but I remember him making plays as a rookie. This is actually really fun. I'm going to actually tweet this out, so I'm going to steal this from you for sure. But, actually, maybe it wasn't PBUs. Maybe it was interceptions, right? Maybe it was interceptions that he had. Let's see here. All right, let me go to coverage really quick. Oh, I can't do that? Well, that's a bummer. Huh. I thought I was able to see pass breakups here, but I guess maybe. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. No, it was PBUs. It was PBUs. You're totally right. Eric Stokes so far in one game has no PBUs this year. Had none in 2024, none in 2023, none in 2022. He had 0 pass breakups from 2022 to 2024 per PFF. He had 9 as a rookie. So, but in the last 3 years combined, 0 pass breakups. And Nixon had, I think, officially 4 in this game, but I know a lot of people gave him 5. That's a pretty crazy stat. Quick turnaround definitely showed both teams looked tired by the second half. I think there was a little bit of that stuff as well. It was, Michael's secret stuff. Good call. So Wetu roll. I appreciate that. Please hit like and subscribe. The Pack Nation supports our guys. Let's go. Thank you so much. Good afternoon to you as well. One of my close friends says that it's hard to establish the run if the pocket is chaotic. Jeff Hafley talked a lot about that in his initial press conferences and stuff, of that he wants to be more of a gap penetrating defense, and he wants to get guys upfield. And you kind of stop the run on the way to the quarterback, right? Meaning you're kind of pass rushing, but like, oh, they ran the ball. Well, now I'll stop the run. And the more chaos that you can cause in the backfield, the more that, it causes chaos for everything. Immediate penetration is the kryptonite of pretty much every offense. It is hard when you take the snap and all of a sudden there's a defensive tackle or a defensive lineman that's meeting you behind the line of scrimmage, whether you're the quarterback or the running back. If you're causing chaos in the backfield, that play is just going to get blown up. Doesn't matter if it's a pass play or a run play. Again, there's always exceptions to it, but more often than not, if you're in that situation and you can get that immediate penetration, it's going to be a good thing for the defense, regardless of what the play call is. What's Tucker Kraft's ceiling for this season and beyond? I think his ceiling is a slightly worse blocking George Kittle. I think that's, and I don't even necessarily know it's a ceiling of just like kind of what he's now become. I don't think he's ever going to be the blocker that George Kittle was/is. I mean, Kittle was a really good blocker, and I don't think Kraft is ever going to quite get to that level. That'd be my guess. I think he can do everything that Kittle has done as a receiving tight end threat. So they're going to get the weapon of George Kittle with maybe just a slightly less version of a blocker. I think Kraft can continue to get better as a blocker, and I think he can be good at it. But I think his ultimate ceiling is George Kittle with maybe just a little bit less of a blocking prowess. And I think he can be that very, very soon, if not already being in that category right now. I'm not going to quite put him in the category of Gronk. I think Gronk was a different level of special in his prime. Now, non-prime Gronk, sure, maybe there's a little bit there, but I think George Kittle is the right comp with just maybe, again, not quite the blocking capability. How awesome was Micah reacting to Lambeau chanting, thank you? He's just been awesome with everything. He's just been absolutely awesome with everything. He has his guys back. He wants to be out there. He's loving being a Green Bay Packer. He's been extremely complimentary of the team and the organization and the facilities. He's been extremely complimentary of the city, the fans. I don't know. It's 2 weeks, right? We're in complete honeymoon mode with a new player. And usually things aren't going to show signs of cracks that early, right? I don't think there's going to be, just let me state, but you're still very much in honeymoon period. But I do not know how this could have possibly gone any better. I've said since they acquired him, this is the right player at the right time for the right reasons. He's the right position, exactly what they needed, the right energy, the right mentality, the right energizer for the rest of this defense, and now a catalyst to what I believe is a Super Bowl contending team. That's why you do that deal. I talked about this, not to spoil the episode for tomorrow with Carmen Vitale, but I talked a little bit about when you give somebody a quarterback size contract, it's like you look at that on a defensive side of it and you're looking like you're giving him a contract that's like a really good quarterback in the league, 40 plus million per year. Like, can he have the impact of a quarterback? The answer so far has been a resounding yes. When you pay somebody top tier money as a quarterback, you're paying them because they're going to be able to elevate everyone around you. It's not just that your quarterback is playing well, but now maybe you don't need that $40 million wide receiver because your 15 million wide receivers look way better because they're playing with that premium quarterback. Your tight ends look better. The run game looks better. Even the blocking feels better because even if somebody gets through, you can avoid the block and still make something happen or read the play so quickly that you can get out the ball out of your hands and in the hands of your playmakers. A great quarterback is worth all that money because they make everyone on the rest of the offense that much better. And if they're putting up points, it makes the defense's job better. It gives you everything that you need. It's the biggest ingredient, right? Micah Parsons is doing that as a defender. He is making every defender on this team better, making a ton of plays on his own and causing a ton of chaos on his own, making it so that teams have to constantly be aware and cognizant of where he is at all times, adjusting their offense because of where Micah Parsons is or isn't lining up. And then as he's helping everyone on his side, he's making things easier for the offense because he's helping the defense get 3 and outs. And eventually those are going to turn into more turnovers, as we saw with the Evan Williams pick a week ago. That stuff is now helping the other side as well. So yeah, give that dude his quarterback contract because like a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes or one of those, he's having that level of impact, but on the defensive side of the ball. It's remarkable. It's 2 games. All right. So again, don't want to be too hyperbolic here. Don't want to jump the shark too much, but that's the impact that he is having right now. It is really, really fun to watch. Yeah, I thought Musgrave had a nice game. I'm excited to go back and watch him as well. Drew DBU, is there a way the team can get a bye week, but also do they get a break, but I still get to watch the Packers? Yeah, I don't know if there's a solution for that yet, but you can go back and watch replays, Drew. There is that option. Due to the Reed injury, would the Packers bring Hardman to the 53-man roster? I don't know. I think there's let's put it this way, right? You probably only need 5 on game day. So you're going to have Wicks, Golden, Williams, Dobbs, and Heath. So you have 5 wide receivers. You really don't need a 6th active on game days. If they wanted a 6th and want that extra punt returner, because Jaden Reed was doing a little bit of that, although it's primarily been Matthew Golden. If they wanted that 6th and you kind of have that gadget-ish player, he's kind of like a C version of Jaden Reed, right? You can bring him up. No question about it. And you could absolutely do that. I think if you are going to do that, it's probably for 2 weeks, right? Weeks 3 and 4. Assuming that week 6, you do get Christian Watson back after that bye. If you get him back, you probably don't need to do anything with Hardman. So I would say my guess is that they do not add him to the 53. They may call him up for those 2 weeks as a practice squad call up for weeks 3 and 4 if they want to utilize him in that way. But I think you're going to get Watson probably back soon after that anyway. So why bring Hardman to the active just to have to cut him when Watson comes back anyway? I don't think that actually makes a ton of sense. So I'd probably just keep him on the practice squad and elevate him the 2 times if that's what you wanted to do. Jerry Jones gets a statue and a ring if the Packers win a Super Bowl, and certainly a very nice thank you letter from everyone in Green Bay. All right. I do have to get out of here relatively quick. Maybe a couple more questions. Do people in Green Bay wear cheese heads throughout the week, like at work or going out to breakfast? No, I've never seen that. And even on game day, you see very few cheese heads overall. A few, but not like a ton. Let's see. I want to gift Kenny Clark one at least. Yeah. I feel bad a little bit for Kenny. I'm sure he's happy where he's at too, but like, he's got to be watching this defense and be like, oh, like you couldn't have just given like 2 firsts and a 4th or something instead of having to give up Kenny Clark too. Like imagine Kenny was still on this team of how much I would be. Could have given up 2 firsts and Warren Brinson instead, and Kenny could stay on. It would have been a logistical issue salary cap wise for Green Bay too. But yeah, I'm sure Kenny's feeling like I would have liked to have been a part of this in some way. With Reed hurt, would you still risk Golden getting injured returning punts? I just don't view it that way. Jaden Reed's been returning punts forever. He broke his collarbone catching a pass. So I think you have to put your players in positions to succeed, and you figure out the rest later. Football players play football. That's what you're paying them for. Injuries are a risk on any given play. And so, no, I wouldn't view it that way personally. And let's say Golden goes out, right? Again, who else you put? I guess you could put Hardman back there if you want to call him up or something like that. But, if you're putting Nixon back there, now you're potentially losing a corner if he gets hurt. So if all of a sudden Golden gets hurt, I still feel like Dobbs, Wicks, Savion Williams, Malik Heath, and eventually Christian Watson, like you're still going to be able to get by with that. So, I think you put him out there if that's who you feel is your best returner and you let him go and make plays. Can they get a backup running back more touches? Need Jacobs healthy come January and February. You may know this, Drew, but Matt touches base with Josh a lot about where he's at from a wear and tear standpoint. And he gets a feel for it based on where things are at. Apparently going into this week, he felt really good and was wanting the extra carries because he knew that he was going to have this little mini bye week before facing Cleveland next week. So I think Josh was pining for those. I would also expect that once you get Marshawn Lloyd back, that they're going to want to get him a little bit more involved in the run offense as well. And that's probably a little bit of a better time to maybe get Jacobs some of that rest. But over time, I would expect that you see a little bit more of some of these other running backs get involved. The other thing I'll say, and I don't want to just, say that this is a foregone conclusion or anything. They just took 2 of the best teams in the league and kind of embarrassed them in back-to-back weeks. If they did that to the Commanders and they did that to the Lions, it's possible. I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion, but it's possible that in some of these games against Cleveland's, the Chicago's, the New York Giants, and some of those, you maybe just get out to huge leads and maybe don't have to play Jacobs as much in some of those games if this continues to go the way that it's been trending so far. You can't take it for granted. You have to go out and play the game first, but maybe they get in some of those games where they just have a huge lead, and with that huge lead can go out and maybe not have to use some guys like Josh Jacobs and others quite as much. Tulio, thank you so much for the kind words. Really appreciate that. And I see you all the time in both the radio show chat and here on the chat as well. So thank you so much for attending so much and asking such great questions. Normalized cheesehead culture in Green Bay, Andy. Yeah, I'm not saying I don't have anything against it. I'm just saying I don't see much of it. Your take on Jordan Love's first down run. Do you like the tenacity, or would you rather him give up the play to avoid the hit? The answer is yes, meaning I love it. I also probably would like him to avoid it. I think there's a time and a place for it. I think that was probably early enough in the game where everything's still pumped up and amped up, where when your quarterback does that, it kind of galvanizes everyone and gets everyone else fired up. I think there's just moments where you've got to do that as a quarterback to kind of earn your teammates, love and adoration and all that sort of stuff. When you see your quarterback doing that, it just makes you want to be a little bit more hardcore with how you're doing things. I like it in general. You want to be careful with it. You want to use it sparingly, but I didn't have a huge issue with it there. The fewer hits that Jordan can take, the better. I don't need a separated shoulder or anything from Jordan. So in general, probably get out of bounds or make that slide. But from time to time, I love it. I love the intensity in that situation. Certainly not mad about it ever, but just a little bit like, just be careful. Just be a little bit careful. But I love the intensity. Hi, Bob. Thank you so much for that. Smash that like button and subscribe, people. Go Pack Go. All right. If you get the chance to ask LaFleur a question, find out if he has started shopping for a new defensive coordinator. We'll see. I'm not going to ask him that, but yeah. Well, that'll be hopefully, by the way, that could be where you win the Super Bowl, you get the high in winning the Super Bowl. And I'm saying this, tongue in cheek right now. There's a long way to go, but you win the Super Bowl. Jeff Hafley gets a head coaching job. You could have an off season where you don't have much free agent signings. You don't have a first round pick. You might have the main storyline of the offseason being who the new defensive coordinator is. That could easily be the case. Hopefully you win the Super Bowl. It might be that even if you lose in the divisional round, where you lose in the divisional round, and it also is you lose Jeff Hafley, don't sign many free agents, don't have a first round pick, and your storyline is who's your next defensive coordinator. So that's within the realm of possibility, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. And hopefully Jeff Hafley stays, and hopefully that comes with a Super Bowl victory right before it. All right, friends, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys a ton. Over 420 people in chat right now. I will see you guys all very soon. No live shows this weekend. We have next week live with Mike Wall at 12 p.m. Central Time on Monday is the current plan for that right now. Members Q&A likely going to be 1 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday next week. And then Pack-A-Day Happy Hour, 3 p.m. Central Time on Friday next week is what we're shooting at as well for those. So Pack-A-Day Live, noon on Monday, Central Time. Members Q&A, 1 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday. Happy Hour, 3 p.m. Central Time on Friday. If anything else comes up, I will definitely keep you guys posted on social media as well as on the YouTube page as well, where I kind of post the notifications for that stuff. See you guys all very soon. Enjoy your weekend. Have a safe, happy weekend overall. Enjoy football. We still got a lot of football, and it's a lot more enjoyable to watch it when your team is already 2-0 and can sit back and relax and watch everyone else tear each other apart. See you guys soon, but until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.